It is the 6th of June. Let's dive into your crypto news. Everything's kind of freaking out with Elon and Trump, but we've got plenty of other news to cover and some potential opportunities to put some attention onto. So the feud I've covered last night in a quick video. There's so much going on with it. I believe they're meeting today to try and fix some of this. The TLDR is Elon Musk is calling Trump a liar, and they're just behaving like childish people. This potentially was a lie. It's just they're literally just children. This just wouldn't work. Elon is like a bright person. He's a genius, but like a system is broken. You just can't fix it so quickly. You know, I don't know why he's like this, but this is not gonna. It's gonna have the same issues that other things have. This is why kind of crypto exists, right? Why Futagi and governance eventually, that's the desired outcome that they can solve. This, I do not believe this at all. So if you see this, just keep in mind that the 18-year cycle, it looks pretty valid, in my opinion, not financial advice. And the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. No. Plus, they're probably going to be unwound and not really do anything, although they are a bit silly. Michael Pizzino has this viewpoint that there will not be a recession. I called in June 2022. Recession probably, next year or 2027. And then per Michael Pizzino, just to keep this in mind, make no mistake though, a major economic downturn, the largest our generation has ever seen, isn't far off, but there is still more time remaining. The other thing that he said was Donald Trump's in Epstein's files. However, the thing is, that's always been known. And I wonder here, and I'm not trying to side with anybody, I'm just pointing out the childish nature which is affecting the markets. If this was the case, and if this was well known, and if he'd seen, then why would you do stuff with the pedophile if that was your accusation? The reality is, you're just throwing crap out on a main stage as the person with the biggest kind of following. The stocks weren't hit too hard, to be perfectly honest. Tesla was hit quite hard. It went down more than that. It's come up slightly, but it's not a stock that I would go and buy. I would buy it if it was on chain. But you can see everything else is kind of fine, to be perfectly honest. And I covered in this video here. Didn't get a lot of engagement. Need to get better at that. In terms of like the realistic way to reduce the debt of the US, Elon's solution saved 180 billion. BT Maxis have the solution that they can just buy, like the government can buy Bitcoin and they will go up in value, and then that solves that. And the current bill and the current way of thinking is just is to print money and then hope it's going to be okay, even though it's not going to be okay, because eventually someone's going to come to say, hey, we don't trust your dollar anymore. But it's not yet. It's probably a little while ago. Or you can get a fall guy president who just nukes everything and then basically causes a reset to happen. But that would be like suicidal. Fear and greed is 45. So this is good. This is good to see. These are, if you've got some spare capital, some more times, another time to actually jump in. And this is similar in a sense to 2017 when it was just China bans crypto, China bans crypto. They banned it so many times. We're seeing the same thing now, only it's just US policy decisions. But I am confident, and I need to do some more research, of course, but I am confident at this stage, June 18, like 2 weeks, we should start to see like strength in the market. In the meantime, SOL's come up a little bit, Ether's come up, down and up and whatnot. There's a bit of red. I say it's come up because it went down to like 143 or something. Yeah, we could be okay. One thing is, like these are the Katoshi settings, and I keep on mentioning this because it's a really workable thing, and I wish I did it far more often. If we have a look at all the alts here on the 2-hour chart, Hype is green. Bitcoin has just gone green again, it went red. Sol is red, and entering into that short, you would have been okay. ETH is red, even though it's picking up again. Sui's red, like very red. XRP is red. Farcoin's just gone green. Jupe will be very, very red. Cloud will probably be quite red, even though it's picked up from some lows here. Camino will just gone green. Cool. But my point here is there's so much redness in the market other than a couple of outliers like Sol as an example. Like Hype. It is a time when the market is going, okay, we're probably going to go lower. Obviously, you want your entry to be here. And like it's probably going to go lower before it gets better, to be perfectly honest. So this is not your best time to be trying to deal MM and capture the fees unless you're happy to buy the dip, which I am, and then let it run for a few weeks. So Sol and USDC, bid ask down, come, and then up it goes. Liquidations the last 24 hours has been quite insane, almost $1 billion. Most of that was longs, of course. Most was BTC and ETH, and so over here at 50. At one stage, 60 minutes, 285 million. And if we have a quick look at the liquidation map, this is coinglass.com. What we want to have a look for here is like different classes that could be targeted. This was taught to me from Range of Finance. And so like you look at Binance and BTC, you can look at all of them. So this as an example is pretty equal, to be honest, but you could probably see that it could push up a little higher to get the shorts here. Bybit, we'll have a look at Bybit and BTC. Like here, there's a lot more of a cluster here. So you'd probably expect the market makers to push the price up before different leverage comes in. So this can just adjust. You can look at these things that happen on that single day. Hyper liquid, there's a massive long, a massive short that can be liquidated if we move up, providing this data is all correct. And I'm sure the big whales and trading firms would have this. And if we have a look at Sol, looks like Sol's going to have a little bit of a hard time initially, I think. Here, we actually have more chance to come on down, I think, than up just based on Binance. But it's pretty even is what I'm trying to say. So once again, like this would be, if I was going to deal DLMM safely, it would probably be a better idea, in my opinion, to do so just in a range and just capture the feeds, even curve it. It's not going to be an insane amount of fees, but it'll get you some MET points and it'll get you some fees and it gets you a skin in the game. This, it looks like it hasn't really updated, but it looks as though, well, it's not updated, so we can't really show you that. Range of Finance, we can't really show you anything here as well because maybe it's not pulling all the data or the API is just not quite fast enough pulling it from Flash and whatnot, but it looks off. Like there's one massive trade on Drift that's massive that could be targeted by the price coming down to like 148.60 cents or 70 cents or so, and then there's no clusters here at all. So sometimes these can be bugs, just as an idea. Now this graph here, this shows on Bitfinex the BTC longs versus BTC shorts. And when you see these massive red candles down with them, this is the amount of shorters pushing the price down, you generally get the same thing happening with the price. You can see it each time below the BTC price. Here, move this up. And you might think, well, it didn't move that hard, but even like 1% of movement is pretty decent. Sometimes it comes on down like that, and then you can see it picks up immediately. So right now, there's more shorting activity that's happening on Bitfinex, but you can see other exchanges are picking up the price. And this is the only chart that I can see that's like, there may be others out here, but this, if this was continuing to go down, you could, foresee that it's going to go down a little bit further. But at this stage, it's kind of bounced off, even though there's more shorting on Bitfinex. Now, Benjamin Cohen has a thesis, and this is a little bit unusual because he's referring to non-bull market kind of quarters. But it's simple as find the local top in Q2 and sell in Q3. And he's referring to 2024 and 2023. So here's our local top. Hopefully, I do think we're going to pick up again. But then his expectation is find the low in Q3 and potentially sell. And that could be the thing, And then potentially, because remember, some people are calling for October to be the top, but this would point out otherwise. In which case, if we come up a little bit higher, if we come up to where we were, and if you want to buy there and look if anything starts at bottom in Q3, we'll keep you updated with whatever his thesis is, because no one knows. No one has a crystal ball. We're just trying to work it all out. The other thing is maybe Bitcoin wicks below 100K for a bit, then rebounds back to 103, 104. So there's nothing like, this is how most people are talking about stuff, which is why I normally just like to cover like DeFi tutorials and yield, because otherwise people say it's going to go up, down, or sideways, which doesn't really help you unless you're actually providing liquidity. But this, and he's been right sometimes and wrong sometimes, probably wrong more than right in many respects. But the point is FOMC meeting the week after, so stuff is coming out. We could see a little bit more of a dip, a bit of a rebound, and it could also be a time to not be trying to leverage in this area and try to be like James Wynn, but just to provide some liquidity, get some USDC and some ZBTC put into DLM. The post-election pump, the support at that stage, we have now broken through that. This is the total 3. So these are the altcoins. The altcoins are not doing well, but we're still going to be fine in the long term. But at the same time, this is probably the time where if you get something high performing you may want to take some of those profits and put into USDC so you've got some bags to deploy in the future, like if you have a big win on a meme coin, or buy a little bit of ZBTC or normal BTC, whatever it is you want to do to start kind of accumulating that. Those are some things that are worthwhile. Like, as much as I like Sol, and I do encourage that you, of course, stake your Sol with felldata.com. However, if you're staking your Sol with felldata.com and you think, okay, well, this looks a little frothy and you want to take some off, you're welcome to do so. It's your crypto. Maybe you would want to swap some of that to BTC at the highs, you know, the 280s, 270s when Sol was. And then you think, okay, well, now Sol's very weak. It's half the price. You might want to deploy back in. But you don't want to do it the other way around. We're like selling a Sol for BTC now, in my opinion. This is the chart that we're most interested in and that we've kind of been blue-pilled on, red-pilled on. I think that's the right term, right? This is the M2 money supply. It has a dip, small little dips along the way, and then we bounce up, and it all starts June 18. So I'm going to watch the market, and maybe I'm going to start to prepare some longs around June 13 or something. We'll see what happens in the markets. It's just like what happened in Dubai for token 2049. It was like there's a fundamental news that, and also M2 liquidity lined up here as well. And if you put on some longs and you left them open for like 2 weeks, you were decently in profit. Same thing could be happening now. That's my expectation, but we'll have to wait and see. Calendar, nothing much on the calendar. Yap run. Just remember, Infinex. Yap about it, even if I'm not as much as I should be. Solana Summit Vietnam. The Popkins Mint is on, or you can reveal them. And Jupe and Juice working group vote begins. Well, it ends today, so go and vote there. This is some bolstering the Eurozone growth, which this is what Trump wants to do in the US, which is good for our bags and bad for most of the population that have their funds in euros or US dollars. ECB, so the European Central Bank, cuts inflation rates to 2% from 2.25% in order to push things up. So I thought normally things were pretty much across the board similar. So this is quite interesting that you've got Federal Reserve 4.25, Bank of England is 4.25. I don't know what Australia is, but probably quite high as well. And then ECB is actually quite low. My expectation is they're all going to go pretty low. The other day I covered the Magic Eden collaboration with the wallet for Trump. And this is absolutely crazy. This is infighting. World Liberty Financial, which is rubbish, completely rubbish, sent cease and desist letter to Fight, the company responsible for the Trump-themed meme coin. So it's just like, I mean, this is the left arm fighting the right arm. It's just complete stupidity, even if they are two dynamic and different companies. It's just silly stuff. Meteor is allocating $1 million to accelerate teams building Meteor capital markets on Solana. There's plenty of options out there. DeFi Tuna is with Orca. Maybe in the future they'll also have some Meteor stuff. There's Orca, there's Radium. Pumped Up Fund has its own AMM. But I still think Meteor is going to grow to be the biggest. They just have the most amount of desire, I think, to be successful, and a team that is doing quite well. So that's what I think is going to happen. And if you're building something that helps out Meteor, you may be able to get some sort of investment. People should already know this, but remember, if you've ordered a pre-order Seeker, go and do this. And it can have the Google Play Store as well as the Solana DApp store. The Saga, I'll be completely honest, I've got one right here. It's powered off, but it's heavy. It's not very good. The camera's not very good. Very few people use it as a daily driver. It just sits there and hopefully gets airdrops, and that's its value to me, unfortunately. But the Seeker, I actually think is going to be pretty damn good. And not a lot of people have the Saga, so they don't necessarily know that it actually does have the Google Play Store. The Claynosaur's reveal is live. Time to open your Popkins packs. And if you're creating UDC, be sure to quote this tweet with your pack opening recording. We'll be hand selecting folks to get an exclusive community badge in the achievement system. So that's pretty cool. Now, you can go and buy these on tradeport.xyz. And these are selling for like $135 or thereabouts. So things have certainly decreased. The hype wasn't quite there, even though I think this is a worthy long-term collectible that I really dig. I really, really dig. Some selling for higher. You can see it here, $121, $184, $171. In general, didn't do super well with that kind of bump. But I think it's just like the markets to be honest. And I think when they start to this is a bit of a long-term hold. Of course, we'd all like a quick flip. Some are doing well. Open them up. If you notice it's really quite high, you can list it for a higher amount. And if you can't get any traction, you can jump into Clanos, you can find the whales, and you can go and put it on the, you can agree on a price. And don't do peer-to-peer, but go and put it on Tradeport. Now, Camino has got Syrup USDC now live on Camino. I have to cover this a little bit more, but there's $500,000 worth of rewards. And this is what we're looking here, like here, 30K monthly if you provide USDG, which is interesting. USDG debt, 30K, USDC, 30K, and GeoSol and Syrup USDC liquidity, 5,000 JTO a month, which is pretty damn cool because there's not a lot of lower risk yields that are doing really, really well at present. So you can see if you just go and supply USDC normally, you're getting 4% or USDT is 5%. Whereas with this one, if you go and supply this, you're getting lending APY and a combined APY. At present, you can also get 6.51% by just getting Syrup, putting in Syrup USDC. So this is kind of good. And my expectation is you could go and probably put in Syrup, I think, or maybe you can go and put in this, and you could borrow something like this, and you could end up just looping it up as well, potentially. Or maybe we have to go in with this one and then borrow this one. I haven't tried it yet, but putting it on your radar because I think it's worthwhile. And the last thing I just want to put onto your radar as a completely speculative play that I have not jumped into at all, and there's no sponsorship or anything, it's just come onto my radar, is someone's going to have to create something cool in terms of a lottery system on Solana. I'm keen when that person does, but this one looks kind of interesting. It's got low followers. I haven't bought any of this yet, but it's a fully verifiable, fully on-chain system, and all you have to do is buy some bull and maybe you win. I just don't like how it works right now. I think they need, I mean, they have an hourly Powerball, so that's kind of cool. Actually, I don't mind it. Just pay attention to this. Just put it on your powerball.tech as the website. Put it on your radar because there's been thus far, there's been like $2 million in lottery winnings, and I'm unsure exactly how it's done. So I need to dive into a little bit more, but just letting you know there's something cool out there that's new. That's pretty much it. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.